Well, it got cold, and the first real snowfall occurred in my domain. I find myself babysitting for the week. Well, technically they are not babies, and they are not mine. They suffer from extreme anxiety when they can't travel with their parents, so I go stay with them sometimes at their house. As you can see, they are very distraught from being separated from their parents. They clearly need to be put on some medication. Since I had nothing else to do, I decided to make some cold weather gear. That meant it would be experimental, because I like to experiment. Maybe I'm kind of like a mad scientist, even if I don't look like one. I was on a tight, arbitrary deadline, so I had to work quickly. Making patterns, cutting fabric, pinning and sewing took much longer than I expected. Before I knew it, night had come, and the annoyance of needing food and sleep meant I would have to continue tomorrow. However, the next morning, I was distracted by a documentary about worms. It wasn't very scientific. After seeing to the needs of the wild and aggressive beasts, I was able to resume my work. I'm going to cut here because it is taking too long, and you can't rush genius. My creation turned me into a ninja. When one becomes ninja, you are automatically given special abilities. Abilities like throwing things, invisibility is another skill one acquires. I know you can't see me, but I can see me, because only ninja can see other ninja. Ninja also have mystical powers. Your running style also changes. And of course, ninja have top-tier jumping ability. The question of the day is, will my creation keep me warm? I start by investigating the wastelands. There is not much here. I guess that's why it is called the wastelands. There were a few things though. Nature decided to give me my Christmas present. A lump of coal. It is not charcoal from a fire. It is coal that was mined in a mine. There was a railway that came through here in the 1890s for logging. It probably fell off the train they were using to haul out the timber. In the frozen mud, there were also many raccoon tracks. I've said it before, and I will say it again. These freshwater clams angered them, and were eaten. Anyone with experience knows that raccoons are not cute and fun creatures. They are as devious as they are cunning, and love nothing more than to sneak into a campsite in the dead of night and do all manner of unspeakable evils. They are also known to carry rabies.
Wait a minute!
I meant to say rabies. It was time to leave the wastelands before those furred masked bandits noticed my presence. I would head into the forest, but they could not follow. But something in the creek caught my attention. I know what you are thinking. Just ice. It's nothing special. This ice is formed by water splashing onto things like low-hanging sticks and branches, and then freezing. And when conditions are right, you can get something amazing. Here are some pictures I took several years ago during perfect conditions. I am no photographer, but the results were fantastic, if you ask me. I had worked up an appetite, and after a quick snack, I proceeded to head up a creek. It was not long before I found evidence of past humans. I am not sure what it was for. I've seen similar setups that were used to control the flow of water to places like gristmills and sawmills that used water wheels for power. But it's hard to say. I do know it predates the 1950s. It was time to leave the creek and head deeper into this forest. I have heard many people say they would never go into the woods alone because they would be too scared. Not me. I have ninja skills now. The only way I might be safer from dangerous predators is if I was hiking with a Canadian. You know, that Canadian. And maybe that Australian guy. Yes, that one. With this group of adventurers, I don't think animals would be a problem. But the only signs of animals I found was some fur from a deer. There were also clusters of downed trees from the hurricane that occurred a few months ago. Then I found this, which somebody had used as a shelter. The fire ring made it obvious. The other logs leaned up to make a roof was another giveaway. They had even used moss on one side as a covering. I suppose it was an okay campsite. There was even a spring next to it. I did see one problem with this spot though. The depression where the tree roots were could flood if it were to rain. That would not be very comfortable in the middle of the night. Speaking of rain, the blue sky was leaving and the clouds were moving in. I do not think it would be wise to go up any further. I have stayed warm, but the fabrics I used are not waterproof. And I think 6 hours is a good first test.
You